Welcome to the Lost Rewatch as we hit the home stretch. I'm getting kind of excited here. It's Lighthouse and Sundown. I thought two pretty good episodes. Yeah. And before I go on, was it just me or did Claire seem to change a little bit?
A little bit.
From the beginning.
I would say so.
She used to have a brush.
I wrote that down. I said, Claire needs a brush.
And it was so
conditioner. Funny. I've bathed my daughter with hair like that. It is not good. It takes forever.
Okay, but at least she's better than Rousseau was, because I would complain in my blogs saying that Rousseau needed a bra. So at least Claire just needs conditioner.
Well, I mean, Rousseau's been there for a longer time, so she probably had one and it
just wore out.
Disintegrated. Right, it just disintegraed.
Is that a thing? Do they wear out?
Into her heart. She had to just throw it away.
Yes, the island didn't heal. The island didn't heal her bra.
They didn't put it into the secret that sacred temple water.
Temple water.
Right, to bring that metal thing that'll poke into your chest.
You know, you would think with pallet drops, somebody would have at least got some underwear and some bras and some. I don't know.
She could make great traps. Why couldn't she make a bra?
But I was saying the same thing about Claire. I'm like, you made a whole squirrel baby. Why couldn't you make a comb?
Yeah.
Give Emily Duran credit for looking that way.
Yes.
Because that, you know, a lot of actresses and actors won't, you know, they won't do things like that. Am I right? Yeah. I mean, a lot of them just. I mean, I know back in the day they wouldn't do it, but I give her credit for doing that.
Yep.
We were talking last week when she returned back to the mainland, she would need therapy.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, there's no way she could just return and be, you know. Land the plane. Hey, I'm Claire. I'm back. I'm okay.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. This episode was. I mean, Lighthouse was it was a lot.
But I think they did a great job of casting Jack's son.
It did. Yeah.
He was almost spot on, like a young Jack. He had kind of Jack's mannerisms.
Yep. And it was so crazy. So it's like watching the boy that played young Jack now. He's in that show on Netflix, the 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He plays the main character. And such a different role. And I guess he's a really good actor because in that show, he looks like a teenager. But this episode is what, like 10 years old?
Yeah.
Something like that by now. And he looks like you know what I mean? So he must be like 50 years old playing a teenager right now.
Well, he was in that show where the dad was he a cop? And he used to go from his wife died in one universe and she was alive in another one. It's like
was that Awake or something like that?
Awake, yeah, which I thought was a really good show. But he was the son in that show.
Okay.
I can't remember the whole premise, but it got canceled.
I watched some of that too. Yeah, I feel like it was something like what you were saying, though.
Yeah, it was a good show, but oh well.
That's good. The kid's been working.
So before we get into the episode, though, because you guys are touching on Jack's kid, is that what we're going to call him, Jack's son, or are we going to call him a part of Jack? A part of Jack, because we're going to get. Don't forget, we got to get into the Karen crazy later. So.
I guess technically it's a part. It's a part
that he is Jack's son until we get to the end of the episode.
Well, we know that he's not.
Right. He's a part of Jack.
Part of Jack, yeah.
Yeah, he's a part of Jack.
Yeah, it's just his insecurities as a kid manifesting against himself. Yeah.
Right. And wanting to reconnect with parts of himself that he's trying to get back to his center. So I love that. Okay, so Lighthouse.
I just say Jack's kid because
Yeah. It's a great episode.
It is, and I have questions. So I guess you, Jack, that felt the Jack. Do your thing, and I will ask away after you're done.
No, ask the question.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So my question was that remember when Jack's at the temple, right? And Dogen says something to Jack, alluding to that's what happened to your sister. Like, you know, the darkness got into Saeed and the darkness also got into your sister. I didn't think at that time Jack knew that Claire was his sister. But in the flash sideways, or actually, let me go this way. Right, in the flash sideways, they go through the documents and they find the, you know, his will and testament, and Claire Littleton is written in there. So
he found out season 4, season 5. It must have been season 5.
At the funeral.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was at the funeral.
4?
Yeah. When the Oceanic 6 gets back to land,
right.
At the funeral, Claire's mother appears at the funeral.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, so that's when he knows that Claire is his sister.
All right.
He didn't know on Island first time around.
Nah, because I didn't think so. Because it was weird. Because it's like with the flash sideways, because, you know, it's like they're rewriting history, rewriting the whole timeline. Because I don't know, that part just kind of confused me. I was like, does Jack know? But you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he finds out. Yeah, with that. But I do. I'm getting my episodes confused here. Sundown. Go ahead, and I was going to say something. I'm going to save that for Sundown.
Oh, well, Lighthouse is about, we find out in Lighthouse that basically that, you know, Hugo, and we'll call him Hugo here because that's what he's called by Jacob in the next 2 episodes and things like that. The Lighthouse is a beacon. So, but we've heard someone is coming to the island before, and we hear that in Sundown. But we've heard in other previous episodes, someone is coming to the island. And I find that that wonderfully curious, and just a nod that we have to pay attention to something. But Lighthouse is Jack trying to connect with his own self, and trying to find his way back to his center, and trying to find, he's also trying to process things from his father. Because we have, even though we don't see Christian in this episode, there is a lot of nods to
the coffin,
the baggage that Jack carries from Christian, that he's trying to process. But also that Christian, in some weird way, is trying to help guide Jack to finding his way. So even though Christian's not physically in this episode, that whole theme is there. We know that he is trying to help. He is trying to show him the way. But go ahead. I don't want to cut anybody off about, you know. Did you want to go in order of the episode, or you just want
No. I just go ahead. Just
Yeah, but I mean, okay. So part of the episode that Jack got on my nerves. I'm just gonna throw it out there. He is. I mean, I guess I don't like it when Jack loses his temper for things that I find like trivial. You know what I'm saying? A person, like, I feel like he doesn't have good emotional intelligence. And when he was at the lighthouse and he saw that Jacob was essentially, like, you know, spying on them, watching them for God knows how long, because when he turned the dial, and of course he wouldn't let Hurley turn it to, what was it, like 108 that Hurley was supposed to, and of course Jack is like, no, Hurley, shoves him I don't know if he actually shoved him, but in my mind he just shoves him aside and like turns it to whatever he wants. And I'm like, Jack is a bully. That's one. And then 2, you know, he sees that it's his that it's watching his house, and then I'm like, you have like this magical lighthouse with mirrors that show you the world when you're stuck on the island, and he smashes all the mirrors. I'm like, what a jerk.
But Jack does not like when he's not in control of something, and Jack doesn't like not knowing all the answers. And Jack, it's very frustrating. So he, you know, but he's also at a crossroads with himself of saying, you know, I'm being confronted with reflecting about myself. His life is being reflected literally right back at him. So
this is true. But if Jack was a real person, would you be his friend?
Hell no.
In that context, you almost have to be.
But if I needed a doctor, I would go to Jack because he would be a great doctor.
Yeah, but doctors are notoriously like jerks.
But he's literally at a crossroads with himself. He's trying to learn again, about, confronting things about himself, trying to find his way back to his center. Like I said before, he's trying to, again, I think that the guiding of Christian is trying to come through as well. But Jack still is trying to let go of the baggage he carries from Christian about growing up and what his perception of what his father thought of him was really only his perception. His father didn't mean certain things to him that way, but that Christian had a shitty way of delivering things. So, but he's also trying to process letting go of those things, trying to reconnect with his own self. But it's causing him great pain and frustration. Again, it's part of it is surrendering these things to the island. It's part of being, and Jack does not like to surrender. He knows he has to. He's on the cusp of that.
Right.
But that frustration of Jack not being in control and stuff, he's still having a little bit of a hard time there. Saying like, how dare somebody be, looking in on my life? Meanwhile, it's Jack needing to look in on his own life.
True.
Yeah, I know. I've been during this rewatch. I've done several, but this one I've noticed that Jack is kind of a jerk. There's times that I, like when he tells Kate, we can change history. The plane will never crash, which means they'll never get together. Kate will go to prison. I mean, the whole thing, he just doesn't care because he wants to correct the mistakes.
Right.
Fix the mistakes that he made where people died, and he just wants. So he is kind of a jerk. But in this instance, I'm going to give Jack a pass because you dragged me to this island. You spied on me. All these things that happened that I couldn't change, and all these people died because of me. And you dragged me to this island. Yeah, I'd probably smash the damn thing too.
Yeah, it's a lot of frustration. But again, the point of that, if you remember, finally Jacob does appear to Hurley, and he's like, well, we got him here. And Hurley's like, but everything I thought that you wanted me to do, mission unaccomplished. It didn't really. And
Jacob is also
like,
a jerk.
but you know what? It did accomplish it. He just needed Jack to see what he needed to see to get him to the next emotional place.
Yeah.
For Jack, it was he needed to go look at the water for a while and try to figure out what, he needed to process things and figure out what to do next.
Because remember,
there were a bunch of practice with this. You could see how many names were crossed out on there.
Yeah, just already
He's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, a lot of
Do
names.
we know
crossed
who was
out.
108, by the way? That he was going to turn it to? Did we see the 108 on the thing? Like the name that was by it?
I don't think we do know who 108 was.
Okay.
There's a whole graph of the names that people have screenshotted the names and things.
Right.
We probably can find it online.
But I will
Maybe
say,
it was Widmore.
Maybe I even have it on my site. I probably should look.
but you know what? Did you guys notice that where Jack's name was? It almost looked like it was like something else was like written there, scribbled off, and then Jack's name was just put there. Because his last name, it didn't look the same as all the others that were older and crossed out. It looked like something used to be 23 that was taken off, and then his name was like written. It's like different.
Who's to say he's not, or who's to say he's the first 23?
I don't
Jacob's been there for a long time.
There's only so many numbers.
Diane says, according to the book I read, I think 108 is Wallace. I do remember that name.
That sounds familiar.
Wallace.
Yes, Diane, that does sound familiar. I'm trying to look at my site here and see. I do have some of the wheel touched on, but Diane, that sounds familiar. Yep, could be. So, but here we did have some great lines in this episode too. Because Hugo lies to a samurai, which I thought was really clever.
And then he goes, "What did he say?" He goes, "You don't want to know."
But you know what? Dogen is trying to find out why is he hovering and sneaking around this corridor, and he's obviously looking for the secret passage out. But that's when we find out that candidates have some sort of power because Jacob tells him, let him know you're a candidate. You can do what you want. And then all of a sudden, Dogen gets put in his place. So apparently, candidates have some sort of power.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah,
Or at
you'd
least
think it'd
people
be part of
people
their
are led to-
culture at this point. Like the on-island culture, like that, you'd feel like that'd be ingrained at this point with the, the candidates being a name that is recognized anyway, or like a title.
or they're led to believe they have power, right?
It's yeah, could be.
Because they believe everything Jacob says. They're part of that Jacob cult, if you want to call it that.
Right.
So I have another question. So for with the others who believe that Claire is somehow poisoned with evil, why do they think that she's actually? Do they think because she's been consorting with the man in black that she's evil?
That has to be it, right?
But it's okay, because I know we're not talking about the next episode just yet. But I'm trying to figure out this, like, what makes it poison, or you know what I'm saying, like what makes it evil? Because they were saying the same thing about Saeed.
Right. They just have the scale tipped, like they have a scale, like that thing in the caves later on, you know, where good and evil, and they're just saying that the balance has gone towards the evil side in that person. I would think even they would believe that it could be tipped back, but I don't know if they're willing to put in the effort. So it's just like, I get rid of them. And do we know if she met up with Man in Black before she went there to the temple? Yeah, because she did.
Well, remember, she into season 4. She leaves Aaron and goes out. That's why Kate has Aaron, because she goes out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And Christian Shepherd is.
Yep.
Okay, I was thinking Man in Black, but yeah, I forgot Christian was there. Yeah.
Yeah, so he takes, you know, of course that's her dad. So she goes off and but what was I going to say? Oh, dang, I forgot what I was going to say.
But she doesn't even know that was her dad, did she?
I think she did.
Yeah, because she said I was with my dad, but not him. This is my friend or something when she was talking about Locke.
Locke, yeah, it's her friend now. But earlier, in season 4, I think she does say dad.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. So Christian announced himself as Claire's father?
Actually, in this episode, Claire is explaining to Jin. She's, as a matter of fact, I think I wrote this down. Claire tells Jin, first, my father told me about them taking Aaron. Yet when Claire was in the cabin with Christian, he claims the baby's where he's supposed to be. So I wrote that note down. So it's Christian, she says, that told them about them taking Aaron, but that's where he's supposed to be. So that's the conversation she has with Jin.
So Man in Black has manipulated Claire into thinking the people in the temple took her baby. That's why she's always attacking them, and that's probably why
she'll rally to his side. Yeah.
But I'm just so surprised because I'm like, yo. Well, I saw that they had branded Claire and did a whole bunch of bad stuff to her when I guess they tried to take her. But the fact that she's been able to, you know, be like Rambo in the jungle, just like killing off all these others for all that time, and they had no defenses to like stop her. That just seems
it's almost like the island needs a Russo,
right?
You know, like there has to be that role filled by somebody.
Was Claire a candidate?
I don't remember seeing Littleton, but it's maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would think pretty much.
Or was
she was taken off the list because she became a mother at just like Kate. Right. When Kate became a mother, her name was crossed out. We know that later. Spoiler.
Maybe she was the original shepherd, and they crossed her off when she became a mother, and then they put Jack on there.
Well, but she was little. Oh, well, I don't know.
Yeah, she was always a
depends if Jacob believes.
Technically, she's a shepherd, right?
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there for argument's sake.
Yes, and we're going with who is Adam and Eve?
Yeah, and I love his time travel explanation of what if it's us? We like dinosaur times.
He could have been. Well, technically, he could have been right.
What if it was Rose and Bernard?
I think a lot of people had that theory that it was going to be Rose and Bernard, but nope, it was mom and son, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Because I remember who was it? Jack that said, not this episode, but I think season 1, their clothing was only like 50 years old or something like that.
Yeah, it was only like 50 years. Yeah. Yeah, and then another thing that kind of always bothered me about that, and I'm jumping ahead, and I apologize, but where the bodies are placed, and when we're in season 1, they're in 2 separate alcoves. Yet, when we finally see mother and son, they're together.
Maybe Man in Black moved them together.
Maybe. Could be.
I mean, he can do a lot of damage. We've seen that.
Yeah.
Fairly strong guy.
Yeah. Yes.
But I feel like he can't do much when he's in his human form. It's only when he's in his smoke monster form, and it looks like he's out of control in the smoke monster form.
Well, yeah, he's just tearing everything up. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like once he's in his regular like a human form, it doesn't like I don't feel like I've ever seen him like pick anything up, or you know what I'm saying, like do anything. You know what I'm saying? Able to do it. Like, that's why he always gets other people to do his dirty work.
Right.
Until he can become the smoke monster, and then he just, like, wrecks things.
Yeah,
so I just don't see him, like, gingerly picking up, like, a corpse and repositioning it.
Did we enjoy?
It seems like it's got too much finesse for that character, you know?
Well, he doesn't like to be a bad guy. He just wants off the island. That's all
I don't think he's evil. I don't know. That's just I always sympathize with that character.
Yeah. Well, especially after we across the sea, we all go, dude just wanted off the island.
Yeah.
You let him off the island, you got no issues, right?
What?
Just don't lie to him and stuff.
Like, he just turns into, like, this, you know, chaotic smoke monster, and all he does is just destroy stuff. Because what did they call him?
But that's
remember when they called him the security system of the island or something of that nature?
Rousseau called him that.
Yeah, and it just seems like what would happen to him if he ever leaves the island? Is he just gonna, you know?
You would see some big changes.
Well, let me ask you this question, or let's bring this to the table. So in the episode, Jacob has Hurley write down all these instructions and directions and everything on how to find the lighthouse. And basically it's established that, him and Jack realize they've been all over the island. How come they never came across it before?
Right.
And the reply was, because I guess we weren't looking for it. So I think that's pretty important to say, well, if it was out of sight, out of mind, I wasn't looking for it. I didn't need to see it, but now I needed to see it. So how many other things on the island manifest in a moment of need to discover it, as opposed to it always being there?
So you're saying
hatches, hatches.
Are you saying it wasn't always there?
Like Harry Potter's room of requirements.
Well, why wouldn't they have ever seen it before unless it was time and necessary for them to
kind of like it? maybe kind of like the heart of the island, where that can only be seen by certain people, or and the way they did with the
bamboo jungle was
the one underneath the one underneath the water that was shutting off to make the island invisible. Like it's just like layer. It's like one of those Russian nesting dolls of people cutting off visibility.
Well,
you think Jacob's controlling that, right?
Things don't present themselves in your life unless all of a sudden you need to. They need to be there for a reason. It's kind of a weird thing that does happen in life. Sometimes you're like, how come I didn't realize this? And it may be the simplest thing. So here we're seeing it in a literal sense.
It's almost like the temple. They didn't know that was there.
Exactly. So they didn't know it was there until they needed to know it was there, or, but obviously the other people utilized the temple for a very long time. But
right, and we saw brief glimpses of that with Locke almost getting sucked down that hole. But they never were like, what's on the other side of the wall?
Well, at that point, though, too, you knew that Smokey was down there. Would you want to go down there?
Well, not down like, oh, there's a big wall here. Huh? Yeah. It didn't seem like anybody really acknowledged that.
Well, there's also
I'm a crazy curious person, because I would be like, like what's there? What's on the other side? What's down there? You know, I would be like stupid curious. I want to go on an adventure and I want to just be crazy. But again, it depends on what your perception is of the smoke monster. Is the smoke monster a bad thing to you, or is it? Again, because we have two perspectives of what the smoke monster is. Echo saw one thing, and John said it was beautiful. So everybody's perspective of what the smoke monster is different.
But Jack and Kate would think it's bad because they saw it kill the pilot.
Right. They were afraid of it. And
right.
I just had a thought. Could the smoke monster have been presenting itself as beautiful to Locke to like lure him in?
To entice him
because he needed him eventually.
Yeah, it could be.
Because we saw with Echo was seeing things of his past bad things he did.
Right. He was being confronted with things that was his baggage. So to speak.
And what Locke was probably seeing was probably fake stuff. That Locke was a leader or this, and he was all the good stuff. That's why he was like he was being manipulated from season 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was a pawn the smoke monster needed.
I feel like the smoke monster is not a good person.
Well, the smoke monster is different than the Man in Black.
Right.
Jacob's brother was killed and then his form was taken on by the smoke monster. Like the Man in Black was a good dude, it seemed like. And that's how I viewed it anyway. He got fed up with being controlled and took his mom out.
And lied to.
Yeah.
He was lied to really by Mother, Yeah. We'll get to that when we get there. But yes, I agree with you, Joel, that it's, again, my perception of Man in Black is not a negative one.
Right.
I think he's better than
all the stuff that he's done. Like he's a murderer.
Even after all the stuff he's done.
Not the guy.
Not the man.
I mean, the man was a long time ago. I'm talking about the Man in Black now. Like he's been manipulating people and causing them to murder and stuff like that. That's not a good person.
I think he's still got the same goal, but you know how you can get like blinded by an objective over time and you end up doing some shady stuff to get there because you became so singularly focused. I think he's stuck like that on leaving. Whereas it's just a remnant from when he was a person that actually wanted to leave. I don't know. That's just my thought on it.
I think he's better than Jacob.
Jacob's an ass. Jacob is a bit of a...
like Joel said, look at all those names on the Lighthouse that were crossed off. Those people died.
Right.
I
never thought about it like that.
Jacob
died.
And plus, how many people did he bring the island that weren't candidates that died?
They were just like casualties of
the game.
Right.
They were pawns.
Because again, I say this every time we talk about this. I said, Man in Black could never leave the island. If Jacob didn't bring people to the island, he could never leave. Because there's no way for him to leave because he can't kill Jacob. He can't leave because there's no loophole. Only way he can get so that was a game between. Yeah, there was a game between because remember in Across the Sea, what's that game that they always play? It's like backgammon,
something like that.
Yes, Jacob never wins, and he says, "Don't worry, someday you can make a game up, and you can win." So that's what it was.
You can make the rules. Yeah,
you can make the rules. So he made the rules of the game. And that's what they've been doing for 2,000 years, playing this game. And he finally found his loophole with Locke to get off the island. Anyway, I think
I'd like to see an alternate version where why couldn't we have seen a flash forward or sideways or whatever for Man in Black where he got off the island? I think that'd be kind of cool to see how that played out.
Yeah, that's all he wanted. Then he gets hit by a bus.
Then it just comes back to the moment he dies or something, like that was just his last memory or thought.
Now go back to when this episode first aired and we see Claire, she's patching Jen up and Jen doesn't know what to, he's looking at Claire. This is not little sweet, innocent Claire. Where's my baby and all that different stuff where she needed to be protected all the time. This is like someone said, Rambo Claire. And the guy that's, what was his name? I forget the guy's name. Not all.
She didn't bat an
although,
eye at him speaking English, perfect English either.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, she wasn't fazed by that at all.
Yeah, that was a shocker to me because it seemed like she was stuck in time. She didn't even realize how much time had even passed.
Right,
and
right.
Jen is speaking perfect English, and she's just like, Jen, my friend, you're back.
Yeah. I'm sorry you got caught in one of my traps.
Right. Oh my gosh, those things that bite you to the bone.
But were you shocked when she takes the axe to the guy and kills him?
Yes.
Yes.
Because that was so out of
It
character.
seemed pretty gruesome. Pretty gruesome.
No, but when she said, and I felt like it was so chilling when Jen says that the others didn't have your baby. Kate took the baby, which was the truth. And then afterwards, she's like, Jen, why did you say that? And he was like, oh, I lied because I didn't want you to kill the guy or whatever. But of course, he's dead. And so she was like, oh, good. Because if that was true, I would have killed Kate. And I was like, oh, my God. He is crazy.
But Claire had to become something different because here's a mother who lost her child now at this point, and she's desperate to get him back. So that is absolutely an incident that changes someone. So she had to become somebody different. She had to become a fighter. She had to become her own warrior in her own little hut that she had to create for herself. So if that's perceived,
Didn't she leave Aaron though? Like, wasn't she the one that walked away?
She walked away and was Sawyer and Miles.
Christian separated them. Yeah.
Now here's a question: why does Squirrel Baby have a nicer bassinet or crib than Aaron did?
She had time.
I mean, Locke did a great job making the crib, or whatever you want to call it.
She made a few improvements on his original design. Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it had like a nice netting to keep the mosquitoes away.
Well, if you remember, when we're introduced to infant Ethan, he's in that bassinet.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, so she found it in Dharmaville.
It's a remnant of that.
It's in great shape, considering everything that Dharma's gone through.
Yeah.
Or Dharmaville.
And holding a squirrel. Yeah.
I feel like the Losties are just determined to just kill off everybody on that island who is not them. They're very destructive.
Well, that's why we had a conversation last week. Someone was upset about Rose and Bernard being so snarky and saying, their attitude was like, screw it, we're not going to be part of you guys anymore. But I kind of got it. I was like, because they say every time you guys come here, it's about killing and all this different stuff.
Right. They don't want the drama. Their life is more at peace if they remove themselves from everybody else's drama. And that's how they keep their zen. It's better for them that way. And I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could survive quarantine, living together. They'd be all right.
Yeah.
And then at the end, John Locke, Man in Black, shows up and Jin's face is John Locke. Right. Or Locke. Does he say John Locke?
He says John.
John, that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah. And then Claire's like, that's not John.
That's my friend.
And Squirrel Baby is my baby.
Yes. Squirrel Baby. Oh my God.
So I'm actually wondering, does the Man in Black appear differently to different people at the same time?
Well, now he can only be in John's body.
Yeah, he's stuck his locks. That's Jacob's.
Yeah, he's stuck his lock. Right? Yeah. That was part of the rules.
But before, I don't think he could appear in two places at the same time. Like, he couldn't be Yemi and Christian simultaneously. I don't think. Any reason to believe otherwise?
Right. And that, as a matter of fact, Joel, you bring that point up, and I keep it in mind for when you get to Abaturno later, about the smoke monster being in two places at once, because there is a moment in Abaturno when Richard sees his dead wife, but yet you hear the smoke monster outside. So there is, what's going on really there? So that's a great point to bring up, but that happens later on, and it is something to be questioned.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like in that case, it just kind of sent a part of itself out. But I don't know that it could send another part out to on the another side of the island to be talking to Jack, or you know what I mean, or to be. That's kind of more what I was thinking. Like he can't literally just go, "I'm two different people
Yeah.
that are dead." I don't know. Whatever.
Well, he can get across the island pretty quick.
That's
Yeah.
true. That,
Yeah, he's got some speed.
Yeah.
But overall, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying he's gaseous. So
But overall, did we like Lighthouse?
loved it. Loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it because again, we're brought back to the point of there. It's obvious that they're near the end of this path that they're all on, and I think that's pretty awesome. But again, using the word, like using Jack is on the cusp of this major change happening, and I like that we got to see things literally, and visually put to us that way. So. I just think so many things are starting to really seal the deal on what this adventure is when now we're at this point. And I love seeing it all that way. The struggle is still there. You may still be on a certain part of the path where you're going to have an awakening, but that doesn't mean it's any less painful or any less challenging or any less upsetting and hurtful and, all of that. But Jack still has to pull himself out the other side of that, and to see it in the sideways, to see him struggle with that part of himself, and you see that Jack wants to love that part of himself. The whole reaching out to the child, to his kid, he's telling the kid, "I want to be part of your life. I don't don't shut me out. We need, they need to be together. They need to." Right. So I loved seeing. I thought that was a very lovely way to display that, and to show very much that reconnection that Jack's striving for is there. He just needs to let go of still some other things, But
do you think David did actually fear Jack? Because somebody suggested that in the episode that. Maybe because he feared his father. Do you think that David actually feared him? It didn't seem like that kind of a thing. And his explanation was so weak at the end, like, "Oh, you were really into me playing the piano. You were being a supportive parent." Like, gee, what a bummer.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense as a complaint.
No.
So I don't think it was, I don't know, maybe he wasn't afraid of him. I guess I don't get what David's issue was there with Jack, that he doesn't see him much, because like you saw his room at his mom's house and it's all lived in, and then the one at Jack's house is all perfectly neat and tidy.
The disconnect. Yeah, it's the disconnect, Joel, of here we're seeing it literally between a father and a son. We're seeing a visual, literal disconnect of them being on, two different wavelengths, so to speak.
So just like metaphorically the same as his dad, not like
right.
Not actually similar.
Right. He's trying to process his relationship with his father, but we're seeing it reflected with Jack and his inner child, so to speak. Yeah. Is that his inner child? Again, you see that some of that dialogue is about. You can see some of the dialogue play out with Jack and David, but yet in the back of my head, I can hear Christian having that conversation with Jack when he was a child. You can't be the leader. You don't try. You don't have what it takes. So that defeatist conversation that Christian had left a completely marked Jack for his whole life. It marked.
Yeah, he told him I carried that around for.
He carried it forever, and that's right. That's the basis of my father. I can never live up to my father's expectations.
Jack can't let things go.
Right. So because he can't let it go, that's a damaged part of him. So in this episode, I see that part trying to get kind of repaired, he's trying to face it. He's trying to, find some sort of connectivity with it so that he can say, wait a minute, I'm not a perfect parent, but I want to be part of your life. And I think it's really a reflection of him trying to heal himself, his hurt part of himself as a child.
It's just the kid just seemed really off sometime. It seemed excessively like angsty teenager, but I have a teenager, so I get how that goes. I mean, they do just get like that, and it just seemed like unnecessarily bitter towards the dad. It feels like there had to be something that happened. I know it doesn't matter because it's not real or whatever, but I'd like to know what he was so bent about. You know,
I think it was more
something he liked.
Yeah, it was just like the manifestation of his relationship with Christian, and I mean,
that disconnect that they had.
Sideways. I think they were just making up a backstory.
He just made up a new disconnect to try to. Okay, that works.
But I mean, there was a part of the episode where Jack said, and this is before he got up with Hurley. No, actually, I think he said it to Hurley. But they were still by the temple area, and he was just like, I'm damaged. I'm broken. I'm broken.
And that's why he went back to the island. I mean, so there's as much as Jack had some growth when in season 5 when they were part of Dharmaville for, and then they were going to blow up everything, So he had some growth there, but it wasn't all the way. So, he even says, I came back to this place, because I'm broken and I was stupid enough to think this place could fix me. But the place can fix you. He just needs to really find his way properly. So he knows he's still broken. He knows he's still hurting. He knows he's not there yet. And, hence I need to go back to that place that I know can heal me. I just got to figure out what it is that I need to find my way to get healed. And Jacob does know that. So that's why Jacob brought him to the lighthouse, confronted him with some of the things in the mirror. You got to kind of push people. Jacob pushes people. Everybody needs a little push every once in a while. And we get that reference all through the show from the very beginning. He just needed a little push.
Right when Man in Black pushed Man in Black pushed Jacob into the fire.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a push is a push. Sometimes you can jump in the back of somebody's cab and tell them what they need to do. Other times you have to let them look out at the water. But Jack had to get brought to the point of the lighthouse to get him to the next step. So there's all a reason for that the little pushes that happen to try to get you to make your way on the path.
I like that comment that just popped up there. Yeah.
David felt pressure.
Yeah, it's like you didn't have enough, or like you don't have what it takes to Jack.
Right.
But the opposite, like the kid's just feeling it without the dad having said it.
Right.
Right. Okay. But Jack felt that way about Christian. I'm never going to be good enough for my father, or I'm not good enough.
He was rude enough to go, you don't have what it takes, kid. Whereas Jack's kid's like, I don't have what it, like you don't think I have what it takes, Dad.
Exactly. So there you see, that hurt child in Jack it's being presented to us that way. But that's exactly what that is. That baggage that he carries from Christian is being presented to us, Jack, an inner child, as opposed to.
They also found. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
They also found Shannon's inhaler in this episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember torturing Sawyer for that? And it was just like, oh, it's Shannon's.
Yeah, well, tortured. I did all this talk about David and Jack. Remind me, I wrote it down, but I kind of skipped over it. But when Jack is talking to his mom, here she's lost her husband. Not only that, he's died, but they've lost him. They can't find him. The funeral's today, or planning for the funeral. Everything's going on. He doesn't really seem to care.
Right.
He's
very
like,
nonchalant about it.
I can't be bothered, and he even hangs up on her. So when he asks David, "Hey, do you want to go over to Grandma's house?" He goes, "No. Why would I?" So it's basically just the same. I mean, the writers did a great job with that.
It's an extension of Jack. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Just showing that. Nah, I don't care. So he had like mommy daddy issues.
Right.
Both.
Yep.
Anyway. Are we done picking on Jack or?
Oh wait, one more. Did you see the ridiculously bad Photoshop at the beginning? And
oh my God, that's the first thing on my notes, and even on my site, it's like really bad Photoshop of the family picture.
trying to make Christian look younger and Jack look yeah, it was terrible. I just thought,
It's like he literally just took 3 heads and put it on 3 other bodies, and it's so obvious. It's like painfully obvious, and I know that the art department is much better than that in Lost.
They were wrapping it up. They're looking for other jobs.
Yeah, I mean,
they didn't have Snapchat or whatever to just do it instantly for you.
Yeah.
Totally saw it.
Okay. Now we move on to Sundown. What do we think of Sundown?
Sundown's a great episode. I'm never going to say one stunk because they're all really good.
I liked it. I liked it, but I did not like it.
What does that mean?
No, I mean,
What
it's
didn't you like?
as a story, but it's just like the amount of like murder that took place, the amount of destruction. You know what I mean? And it was just like, for what?
Well,
People choosing sides, I guess. Like
I'm just like, damn, like really?
it's war essentially between Man in Black and Jacob. And so now all those people were following the guy who's dead. So either he's going to recruit him or they're going to fight against him, and they're probably going to lose.
Well, remember, Locke is claiming, though, to be freeing the people who have been bound to Jacob.
right.
By killing them.
In his opinion, he's freeing them.
But he did give them a choice, whereas Jacob never gave them a choice.
Right.
Like at the end, they're all with him then, and he's not killing them then. He just wiped out the ones that are like, no, we're sticking with the Jacob side.
Yeah, we have our guns that don't do any good. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying he did say, okay, you have till sundown to get out of here. Or Claire said that. Was it Claire who said it? Oh no, it was Saeed.
No,
Saeed said it because he was delivering the message.
Yeah.
But what happened? So Saeed had to kill Dogen so that the Man in Black could enter the temple and like wreck shop. So what was it that Dogen was doing to
That's the
him?
only thing we didn't discuss from the last episode was Dogen's and Jack meeting up and the stuff with his kid, and because that only tied into this episode, I guess.
That's
Sorry,
actually
I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
I thought he talked to Saeed about that.
Now, Joel, that's a very important part, actually, when Dogen talks to Jack about their children when they're at the recital.
Some pressures put on them.
Right.
Yeah.
In other words, I felt like even though Dogen is saying those words, that it really was like Christian saying, like, I'm like, again, remember I said like that for me, it felt like Christian was in the episode, even though he wasn't in the episode, because there was so much of Christian's guidance happening somewhere in the background. I kind of felt like it, but Dogen saying, like basically it's so hard to just watch and be unable to help them, because on Island, that's exactly what's happening with Jack. I know you need help to move forward, but I can't help you. You got to find it for yourself. So even though Dogen says those words, I kind of like in my crazy head felt like, well, that's something that the guiding Christian would say to Jack. I can't help you, and I feel helpless not being able to help you, but you got to do this yourself.
And you just made me like Dogen less. I thought I couldn't like him less, but I was like, oh, he had one reasonable. His whole storyline, his whole function was just for that, because the only thing I cared about with him was the stuff with his son. Like that's the only when he was fighting with Saeed and the ball fell off. Like it's the only time I ever cared about the character.
Yeah, but see, again, even with Dogen with the baseball connects Jack and Christian because they were Red Sox fans. So even though we're seeing Dogen, that's why I felt like
his whole thing is about Jack. That sucks for him. Anyway.
The whole entire story is about
pawn.
Jack.
Yeah.
The whole story of Lost is about Jack.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
We brought up the fight. Did we like the fight? I know I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You didn't like Natasha?
I liked it, but once again, I don't want Dogen to die. He drowned him.
Well,
but
I don't
you choke him out, or a combination of both.
But think about it. How has it ever happened where somebody was murdered a certain way and then they got to murder the person who ordered them to be murdered the exact same way? Like, that's amazing.
Because Dogan was trying to
got
kill
drowned. Yeah.
I mean, he offered him.
He
just
did.
Like
He did kill Saeed.
Yeah,
And he came back 2 hours later. He
And
drowned
he did
him.
try to-
And then
he tried to kill Saeed. He sent Saeed out to die with the smoke monster.
Yes.
Yeah.
He said, "Don't let him talk." Stab it. He does it, and he goes. And then, of course, Man in Black goes, "Why would you do that?"
Right.
Yeah.
He was hoping that he would get killed out there, and he didn't.
But I do like the story that because Dogan's there because Jacob saved his son, but there was a price. He had, "I'll save your son, but you have to come
Yeah.
live in this temple for the rest of your life."
Do you believe
So
that?
I believe it.
You believe he saved his son?
That he saved his son, Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you think he came to him like in the moment that it was happening, or after the fact? Like, cause like with Locke, Jacob came there and touched him like right as the incident happened. Wasn't it a
Right.
car accident? I thought he said his son like died in the hospital or something.
Well, they were in a car accident together, though.
They were in a car accident. And Jacob, I thought.
So you think
he was
Jacob
dead.
like showed up at the car accident and did it and saved his son with the
No,
intent
Jacob-
to
Or at
come
the
to the island?
hospital.
Knowing Jacob, he could have been driving the other car. I don't know.
Right.
That's good. That would have been amazing.
Yes. But all of the life-changing incidents that happen, Jacob is there. It's like Jacob and the incident go hand in hand.
I mean, I think we'd all do it. If our kid was dying,
Or vice
if
versa.
someone came to us and said, "Hey, I'll save him, but you got to come live in this island for the rest of your life," I would do it.
I would do it.
But I think it's still.
I'm
it's
just
still
trying to
pretty crappy
picture
thing.
the logistics of it. Like, okay, save my son and I'll go to the island. The son's alive. Oh, I love you, son. Okay. I'm
No
not
more
going to the
baseball
island.
games.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
they
he
can't play
did-
baseball together.
He did take the baseball, so that was probably meant something. Yeah, obviously meant something to him.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a pretty crappy thing to do. He could have saved him. Okay, come work for me a couple years, then you can go home.
Yeah.
But
I'm just
It's not
saying there's
Jacob.
no hard evidence he saved anybody. He could have just told him he did. I still
I
don't
see.
trust. I still don't trust that Ben saved, or that they saved Juliet's sister.
Nope.
yeah,
Like
we don't know
something
for
about
sure.
that. You know what I mean? But so what? Like we're supposed to picture Jacob doing the same kind of manipulative stuff. Like, oh, what a good guy! Oh, he
Shenanigans.
saved his son.
That's a great.
I don't know.
That's a great point. Yeah.
I mean, we've never seen him not save somebody after he said he was going to.
I was just
Yeah.
trying to work out the double negative and what that meant. But we've never seen him not. Like, so we have seen him save people. Yeah. Oh, you mean we've never seen him like go up to a situation and just like let it be, like let somebody die?
He's like, oh yeah, if you do this for me, I'll do blah blah blah, and then we see him deliberately not do what he said he was going to do.
Right.
Okay. They were such a small part of the show. It seems like they're such a massive part of it, but like Jacob and Man in Black and that stuff, one of the most interesting storylines, and we got so little of it.
True.
Do we like that he put Claire down a hole?
No.
Claire didn't seem to mind.
You could have given her some lotion at least. There was a light pause, so I'm like, damn it, did nobody get that reference? How?
And then, of
But
course, Kate-
she knew the smoke monster was going to come anyway, so she was
Right.
cool with it. She's like, I'll just
Yeah.
hang out here. I'm going to hang out here.
Yeah, I'll stay. And
So
then
he
Kate
still
ret-
can't do anything to the candidates, right?
No,
Okay.
he can't.
Okay.
So then Kate's
Kate's not a
Yeah,
candidate.
Kate's a candidate.
No.
She is.
No.
used
No,
to be.
she got crossed out once she became a mother.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm referencing the conversation she has
Oh.
with Jacob in like an episode or whatever, where he's
Oh.
like, "Yeah, whatever, sure, if you want to be, fine."
Right, exactly. The rules are no big deal. The guidelines to the game are no big deal. We could just cross stuff out.
I made them up. I'm in charge. Whatever.
Right, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So there's nothing concrete in this game at all. At all.
The stakes have never been lower.
But I like how Kate returns. She returns to Temple. Yeah, I couldn't get him. Yeah, I'm back. Claire's here because Miles can't. Yeah, he says she's still hot.
The hot chick.
I think Miles has been on that island way too long. Yeah, because I not to be mean, but
he sees the potential. Get a shower and a haircut. Therapy.
Right.
Yeah, lots of therapy.
You have to be, what was it, deluced? Or get the little bugs out.
Yeah.
Oh, deloused? Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, I do want to ask, Jack, you go ahead because I don't want to jump ahead of you.
No, go ahead. I'm just.
Because I'm probably going to jump ahead, and I don't want to do that. So
go ahead, jump away.
I don't want to.
Jump.
Okay, so when Saeed goes out with the dagger, and he's going to have to go see someone who will appear to him who has died, and don't let them talk first, and blah blah blah. Okay, he stabs him. But let's get to this part. Saeed asks Locke, "What are you?" Okay, because Locke is not a what, he is a who. He's not a what. And that's when we realize that Locke is just a man who's just trapped. And he's really just trapped by, again, the baggage that is tying him to not move on. So we can't ever gloss over like the metaphor parts of things, because that's what's driving the journey. Those things are important, but I think it was pretty important for Locke to, and he's done it a couple of times in season 6, letting people know I'm not a what, I'm a person, I'm a who, I'm a man. I had a life, I have feelings, I'm just trapped. So he's metaphorically trapped. I have anger issues. He does. He has anger issues.
Is he a combination of all the people he's inhabited, or is it just still Jacob's brother? Like, because obviously he also has some of Locke's memories, right? It's like, does he have Christians and Yemis and like all the different?
No, I think just Locke. That's Locke.
So just the current one?
That's my opinion only. That's Locke.
You think that it's actually Locke?
What we're seeing in front of us is Locke.
Right,
Locke,
like Man in Black,
whether
Man in Black.
Whether you see him as a transformed Man in Black, okay. If you see him as a transformed, okay, it is Locke. Locke's memories, Locke's baggage, it's all of Locke's persona. Him, he may claim to have other aspects of things, but I think really what we do see is a trapped Locke with anger issues. But still, he knows he's at the end of his journey too. And what happens at the end of the journey? You go home. So this Locke we see at this point, whether he's manifested via Man in Black or you believe he's Locke, whichever. This Locke is at the end of his journey, ready to go home. That's what happens at the end of the journey. But he does have those anger issues still.
But I think in the episode before, last week, Sawyer knows he's not Locke. He goes, "How do you know I'm not Locke?" He goes,
"You're different."
You're different. Locke was afraid.
Right. This Locke is not. Right.
Yeah. So this Locke has confidence.
Right. But you the part of the journey is to change you also. We see Claire getting, changes a little bit. And, not for nothing, Kate also changes a little bit because she's softened by becoming a mother. So this Locke isn't afraid anymore. He's crossed a threshold of something. Look, I have to go home. That means that this person is ready to go home.
Is it
So,
because
you're, so just to
This
clarify,
John-
your
this Locke
just to
is
clarify,
going on.
your take on this is that it is Locke and not just Man in Black in his body. It's interesting. I've never heard anybody say that before, so I was just clarifying if that's what you were saying.
And the only reason I say it that way is I'm going to answer yes to you. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I'm going to answer yes, even though we do know there's a Man in Black, and we are led to believe that he transforms into other things, and other persons and things like that. I got that. I'm not negating that. I'm just going from the perspective of the John Locke that I watched on a journey start to change. And he put himself on a different path. Yes, this Locke has been influenced by the smoke and all of that. Yes. But the man of Locke, I have seen change. And it's not too far off from the incarnation we see of this Locke today in this episode. Is that making any sense to you? I'm seeing a man, John Locke. A man, John Locke. He's telling you, I'm a man. He's telling you.
He's definitely who Locke wants to be.
Yes, he's the version of himself he always wanted to be when he grew up.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Confident, someone would follow. I don't know about the evil part.
No, and the only reason I say the John Locke that we know is because when we get a couple of episodes ahead, Joel, just so I kind of don't seem like I'm really off the rails here, and there's a reason for my way of thinking. Because even though we have this version of Locke who we know is with Smokey, it's we're led to believe it's he took over Locke's being, and there is part of that smoke in John Locke. Yes, there is part of that. I just don't think it's the perspective of I'm just transforming my body and I'm something different. It's Locke, but he's still under the smoke monster. The reason I feel it's still John Locke is because when we get to a next couple of episodes, in the sideways, we do see the man John Locke. We do see the man John Locke let go of things. We do see him, we do know that he has the surgery to, get his legs back. We do know that he does learn to let go of things. We do know that those things happen. And that had to happen to the man John Locke.
Right. Well, what does that have to do with the smoke monster version?
Okay, and the other way to explain it is the sideways and on island is really running parallel with each other. So it's the same thing. John Locke is influenced by the smoke monster. I don't think he's a being that.
But John Locke is dead, and his corpse was brought to the island. So if he was reanimated, he was reanimated via the smoke going into him. Right?
Yes. Yeah, dead is.
That's the only confusion part I have. I'm like, wait a minute. You keep acting like Locke was alive.
Yeah. Well,
Carlton said dead is dead.
Dead is dead. Okay. Right. Once you have a death, you are dead. That old self of you is dead. This is a new John Locke. I'm saying. Yeah, this is a new John. This is a new John Locke. The old John Locke is dead. The new John Locke is a different John Locke. He is not afraid. He is driven to go home.
Disagree to disagree. I just don't think it's John Locke.
That's fine. Absolutely.
Yeah, no. I mean, we'll just go in circles forever is my point. Exactly. Like, I'm not going to waste our time with that. But I guess I just don't get that part.
No, that's okay, because I again just always stay to the metaphor part of it, and that's where I think that's where I lose people. Because
I was just thinking, I was assuming that this guy, because he's been alive so long, has been, and by this guy I mean Jacob's brother. I assumed he's been alive so long and on the island so long that he's inhabited many of these. And I was just curious if the being, whatever it is, that can become, if that's like gathering bits and pieces from all the ones that he's been in over time, and now it's like the final form of it, and it's mixing with Locke as well, mannerisms and maybe even some phrasing and stuff like that. Just, I don't know. I was just curious if it was blending their personalities or. Yeah,
I think at this point that Smoke and John is one and the same. It's John. That's John's essence. It's just a newer version of John, or a reborn version of John. He's not all the way there yet, but we're getting there.
Well, Diane
Again,
says
I lose a lot of people more metaphorically, but I'm telling you, I do know it. It's
Diane says somewhere though he says he was human once. Also, I just can't see John Locke being that murderous. Naomi would disagree. But anyway, I'm kidding. No, I hear what you're saying, but
I know it sounds confusing, and I sound like I'm going around in circles. So thank you for bearing with me. But it's
I think in combination you're both right. I think it is part of John, but I think it's also part of what I think Smokey is reading what John wanted to be. I mean,
right. And in the sideways, we still see John the man. We're not omitted from a John. Like, in other words, we know John died, right? He died. But in the sideways in season 6, we're not dealing with a dead John Locke. We're dealing with a John Locke.
Well, technically we are.
He's dealing with
the dead John Locke.
Well, you know what I'm saying? This in the sideways, when he meets up with Jack to have the surgery, he's still a paralyzed John Locke, alive and paralyzed. Yeah. But on Island, we're dealing with a not dead John Locke. But in the sideways, he's alive, but yet still paralyzed. I know. I just threw a whole wrench into it.
Okay.
I was told there'd be no math.
Jack, you'll get a lot of messages about this one going, don't have that girl on again. Don't have that girl on again.
No, it's fine.
I know sometimes things are harder to explain than they really are in my head.
No, I hear what you're saying. Like I said, I don't think I've ever, like Joel said, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say it that way.
Right, because like the whole killing of Jacob thing, why would Locke care? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, why would Locke want to kill Jacob? He would maybe want to be Jacob, but
I thought he wanted to be Jacob's friend. Like, he wanted to, like,
right,
get out.
Yeah. That's only, you know what I mean? Like, everything has been set up once you look back on it, that it was his brother, or whatever that being became after he killed his brother. So I'm fascinated with the thinking it's Locke thing. I'm not mocking it or making. I like the idea.
And
I just never heard it before.
Yeah.
Well, but Locke can't control what Smokey does in his body, right? Is that what? Because Locke wouldn't kill Jacob, but Smokey obviously would, and he needed, because he didn't do it. Ben killed Jake, basically killed him.
Right. Ben killed Jacob.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I just meant the plot. I meant the plot of the I'll find my loophole. That was clearly Men in Black in that season 5 finale thing.
Right.
So like it feels like that's that same person. So that and you found your loophole. Like he even said that to him. So he was talking to that guy.
Right. And
that's what I assumed, right?
And it is a game. It is a game. Okay. We do know that John Locke loved to play games. We know that he played, games in the office. He played, he played Mousetrap. He played a lot. Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Risk. Yeah.
So he played John Locke was the game player. So obviously John and the Smoke Monster or Man in Black they are the meshed together, so to speak, So I'm not, it's hard to explain. I'm not negating John.
I'm going to need a full report that explains this to me in detail. Thank you. Email them, please.
I'll send you the PDF.
I need something to do for the next week and a half, so send them over.
I'll send you the PDF. No, but
genuinely, like I love anything about Lost that somebody's like this thing, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay, give it to me.
Right,
literally, I'm sure there's some validity to something.
Literally, Joel. Literally, and you could do it, Kevin. Literally, we are seeing a man in black, Smoke Monster. And we know that he took on the vessel of John Locke. We know that he took that on.
Characteristics and all that stuff. Okay.
Right. So I'm not negating any of that. The metaphor part of it is I do know that John Locke still exists because he exists in the sideways as a paralyzed live person. So that's why.
Are you saying because they're also showing him on the island? Because like Boone exists in the Sideways and
Right.
he's dead.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't think that ties into them at all because the Locke on the island
Well,
isn't Locke. It's
and
that
this
other
would-
dude. And
And this would be a
sure,
whole.
it feels like peak Locke, but it's not, right?
But okay, so
I don't
you're
know.
right. Now this is a whole.
Like I
different
said, I could
subject.
go forever.
Right, I know, me too. Okay, and this is a whole different subject, and we will tackle this at another point in time.
Okay.
Because I won't torture anybody else tonight. That
I swear I didn't mean to hijack it with this question.
oh God, no. But anyway, so the whole other topic, but we'll get to it another time, and we could Zoom on our own time, and we can have a whole conversation about it too. But
Sorry. No, I'm just kidding.
and there are times that I even have thoughts that even though we see different characters, because I've always felt like John and Jack are like the two halves of a whole, like Jacob and Man in Black are two halves of a whole. And then that there are many times throughout the series, there's many times that I feel like a lot of the other castaways are really, they play off for me as aspects or other facets of Jack's own personality. Also, so because they have these little bits that really could be chipped off of Jack, whether it's addiction or control or things like that. So each castaway has their own thing, but they really kind of sometimes to me feel like they could actually be aspects of Jack as well. That's a whole other topic. So anyway, there it is. We didn't get anywhere after all that, did we? I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying.
It's just I always go to the metaphor, Joel. That's where I go. That's my thing that my monkey on my back that I carry. I always go to the metaphor. I need a drink after that.
Anyway, I wanted to talk about the scene between Dogan and Saeed where Dogan's telling Saeed why he's on the island, all this different stuff, his son, and then Saeed still kills him. I don't know if I don't. Of course,
I didn't like that.
I mean, I had no problem with killing Lennon when John Lennon came up there and said, "What did you do?" At that point, now you've ruined everything.
Why didn't you want him to kill Dogan though? Like, why did you have sympathy for Dogan?
I don't know. I had sympathy for Dogan because I felt as though he was on the island for a specific reason, and it's not like he was there to be like the bad guy. You know what I mean? He was there just doing his job.
He wasn't there to get rich. He wasn't there to exploit the island.
Right.
He was there to protect. He was there to protect everybody. He was there to protect everybody in the temple to make sure the black smoke didn't get in.
Yep.
So it wasn't to keep them from getting out. It was to make sure the black smoke never got in.
Right.
So he had
Well,
a
come
role.
on, can you imagine hanging out with somebody and they speak in another language and then say, "I don't like the way English tastes on my tongue"? I mean, come on, it's a little bit pretentious.
Pompous, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
And
maybe
because his-
Saeed.
But
Maybe
even
Saeed
you know,
felt-
I mean, that's not enough to kill him, though. I mean,
well, maybe Saeed thought he was.
No,
free.
not that. Saeed was ordered to be killed basically by Dogan, so that's just straight revenge.
yeah,
Kill or be killed.
He was doing his job.
Kill and be killed and kill. Yeah.
But I think Dogan knew that was a loophole for Man in Black to kill Dogan to get
Right.
in the temple and kill everyone in the temple or
Wait. You said who knew that? Who knew that loophole?
I think Dogan knew that loophole.
So Dogan wanted to be killed, you think?
No, well, no, I don't think he wanted to be killed. Maybe he was tired of being on the island. I don't know. But I don't think he wanted to be killed. But
I don't
I
think
think
he
he was-
wanted to be killed. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying he gets this. If someone's telling me a story about their son, you're here because your son was dying, and Jacob might or might not have saved your son. I don't know if I would have the heart to kill
Definitely
that.
didn't.
We don't know that. Maybe.
We don't.
But,
That's the
but
best.
wait a minute. Juliet's sister. Didn't they show Juliet's sister like alive?
But that was Ben.
Yeah,
Claiming to do
that
it,
was
not Jacob.
Ben. Yeah.
That is true.
And Ben was kind of evil. So, you know, at
And
least
Ben
at the
used-
time.
Ben used that to keep, because Juliet knew that if she was alive, that her sister and nephew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ben
Yeah.
obviously had eyes on him, that if she didn't stay, she could have them killed. Ben would have
Didn't
them
they
killed.
just say that she got sick again after Juliet came to the island? Like, couldn't they have just made that up?
Yeah,
And
They
she was
could've.
fine the whole time?
just to keep Juliet there because Ben was in love with
Yeah.
her.
Right.
Yeah,
was
so I mean, he could have been
manipulated.
like, oh, she's dying or whatever. We'll save her. And then
I mean,
she's
there's a lot of
fine because she was
manipulation
always
that goes
fine.
on in this show.
Yeah.
He manipulated her. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. But maybe Dogan did want to die because he didn't put up much of a fight. We just saw him fight. We just saw him fight with Saeed.
Wasn't he like a samurai or something like that? Like, wasn't
And the only reason he didn't kill him because the ball got knocked off the.
I know. What a lame reason to pause. Just finish it and then grab the ball. Well, I mean, what are you doing? You're already mid-swipe, mid-stab.
I mean, as quick as he was, he could have stabbed him, juggler, and then went over and made the catch. I think.
And Dogan wasn't a samurai, really. He was a banker.
Right.
He says he was a banker.
He had some mad skills though,
Yeah, he did. He did.
because usually people don't do that well with Saeed.
Yeah, and I mean, why again?
With his feet.
Why do we feel bad for this guy? And he sent Saeed to get killed twice, or tried to get him killed twice.
Because I think
Like,
he knew.
do we think Saeed's that bad? Like,
Saeed is a murderer. I think Dogan was just doing his job. Because he knew that there was something evil in Saeed, and Saeed was going to be the downfall of everybody, which he was. And then the smoke monster came and then like killed everyone up if they didn't leave by sundown. And it's like, who do you think you are to tell me to leave at sundown? I don't know. I just thought there was a lot of like douchebaggery going on, and I didn't like it. It was a good
Okay.
episode. But a lot of people died.
Yeah, because if Saeed doesn't come there, then Man in Black never gets inside.
Exactly. And it was like he
needs
was
to get
manipulated at all turns.
Yeah, Man in Black needs to get inside there because he needs to free all those people. He needs to liberate them. So that's what he thinks he is doing anyway. He thinks
and-
he wants to be there.
And again, does Dogan want to die
they're afraid
because
of him. They may not want to be there.
That's what I'm saying.
They're afraid of Man in Black.
Exactly. It's like he's not liberating
Well,
a damn thing. He's liberating his ego. He's not liberating.
Well,
a lot of people left with him? Even Cindy goes all over the place, right?
Cindy just goes where she thinks she's going to be safe. They left because they didn't.
That's
want
why
to
they
die.
went to the temple, presumably, then, because they told them that Man in Black would kill them. And who knows, maybe some of them were candidates. Maybe at some point or not. You know, Cindy came on the plane. Who's to say she wasn't one? You know, I don't know. I guess they're down to those six, but
She was always protecting the kids, though.
yeah.
yeah. So she might have become a surrogate mother and been crossed off for that same reason.
Now, going back to Dogan maybe wanting to die, why send Saeed out in the first place? To kill. He knows he can't. He knows he can't kill Man in Black, right? So he's taking a chance that Man in Black. What if Man in Black doesn't kill Saeed? Now Dogan is screwed. Maybe Dogan had just had enough. He's like, I am done.
Again, he could have just killed him, but he cared more about the baseball.
Well, because it was his son's baseball, right?
Well, no, I get that, but yeah.
I mean, he'll
Maybe-
never.
Maybe he's like, I didn't sign up for this part. I wasn't going to war with anybody. I didn't sign up, so I'm checking out. I'm done. I'm done.
Jacob. Why did Jacob didn't want to be the leader of the island? He didn't want to contain his brother anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe Dogan's like, I'll never see my son again. I'll never see my family again. With all these downers, I don't even want to speak English. So
Even though this guy's telling me I can leave the island with him and forever, like, wouldn't that be worth a shot to see? Maybe he'd get back to his son. Jacob's
don't know.
dead. He can't stop him. Yeah, I don't know. There's other ways. He didn't have to die. I'm okay
Well, maybe he
with
didn't.
it, but-
Maybe he didn't think it through.
I don't think he wanted to die.
No, I don't think he wanted to die either.
But there's a
I'm
thing
a-
on the show that they make it so easy for anyone who's not one of the losties to just like die. They die so easily. Like gosh.
Like all the people in this episode.
Yeah. Like my gosh. Like put up a fight, why don't you? They're just so like they're so soft.
Well, they can't. Well, because they can't.
Easily.
They can only hide from Man in Black. They can't kill him.
This is true, but I mean, I don't know. At all this time, it just felt as though like our losties were able to kill so many of the others. I mean, by the end, I don't think any of them are alive.
No.
I did put in my notes that that I loved the episode and it was filled with a lot of action, but it was very dark. It was a very
Yes.
dark episode. Yeah.
One thing that stood out to me was I know it was a Saeed one, but a couple things. What brought Saeed back? Anybody? Like was that
Alana.
Jacob? Was it the island? Was it the light? Like
It was Alana.
No,
Alana
when he got drowned in the spring.
Saeed back.
Oh,
Yeah,
he brought-
what brought him back to life?
Yeah. The island.
Was there an answer to that? Just the island, or was it Jacob
I
specific?
think it was
or
the island. I think
magic
yeah.
water. No.
magic,
Well, the water
like
was
the
tainted.
light in the water.
Well, the water was tainted. Remember, because Jogan slices his hand, puts it in there, and it doesn't heal. That's how he knows there's something. That's why he says, "Go ahead and drown him."
right.
I
But-
assumed
but
when they
Saeed-
said he wasn't right that it was going to be the Man in Black brought him back, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So just the island healed him, kind of thing. Like that's
So,
probably where
yeah.
they put young Ben.
Right. Just to bring him back and make sure he was
Okay.
healed. Okay, and then so metaphorically, Saeed dies in the spring, blah blah blah, and he comes back to life. Life, death, rebirth. He's experienced a rebirth in the
Right.
spring. His spring is rebirth. So metaphor, check. Just to make
so then
everybody
when-
pissed off. Check.
after Saeed after Saeed tried to kill Man in Black, he said, "I'll offer you anything you ever want." And he said, "The only thing I ever wanted died in my arms."
Right.
So who's he talking about?
Nadia.
Or Shannon.
But Shannon died in
Shannon.
his arms.
They
and
both
he
died in the
reunites
they both-
with Shannon at the end of this.
Actually,
thing,
did
not
Nadia? Nadia was
No,
dead
Shannon.
before.
Yeah.
Was Nadia?
Yeah.
Oh no, Nadia did die in his arms. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they both died in his. It was the first time I remembered. Oh crap! Two people died in his arms, and
Mm-hmm.
one of them is the one that he ends up with, and one isn't.
That we know of. 'Cause
So
he's been
who was he
around-
talking about there?
He's been around a lot of dead people, so it could have been a lot of people.
It could have been a lot of people. That's true. But I mean, is it possible he was talking about Shannon here, and we just didn't know it?
Could be.
Yeah, because the flashback is, or the flash sideways is Nadia.
And
So
it's still
you're
him
seeing-
going, "I can't be with you." So like
Yeah.
maybe he was just never meant to be with her.
Right.
Because isn't in the
I don't know, it's just a thought.
she's with his brother.
Right.
Right. And she's even like, "I would have been with you. What's the deal?" And he's like, "I don't deserve it." And then she doesn't say anything. Like, that's the lamest excuse. "I don't deserve you. I decide what my deservedness is." Like, you didn't, what?
Diane says Nadia died on the street with side beside her. Shannon was in his arms.
Oh, okay. I thought he picked like, I thought he was like cradling Nadia. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like-
think he got hit.
Well, she was all bloody and stuff. So I was like,
Yeah. I swear he picked her up, like kissed her forehead or like held her head close to him and did that terrible side crying face. That cannot cry on camera. I was like, I can't even. It's terrible.
Well, he said, I think her last words were "Take me home" or something like that.
Yeah. He had to have been holding her. He's not going to be kneeling down next to her like, "Go ahead." You know, as
Yeah.
she's dying on the street. What's that? What's that, Ben?
Can I get some gloves?
Yeah, so
Anyway.
I don't know. Maybe he was talking about her. Maybe it wasn't. Probably they were intending it to be Nadia, or it was a
I know
Right.
my brain went right to Shannon first, though. Even though we know, he's with Nadia when she gets hit by the
Yeah.
carpet. My brain went to Shannon, but Again, we know how my brain is.
Yeah. Well, I know at the time.
No, we don't. Don't tell us we know.
Well, I know at the time I was thinking it was Nadia because it was a Nadia flash sideways.
Right.
It was always Nadia. But at the end, we know it was probably talking about Shannon because that's who he goes with.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And how about Kimi and those eggs?
Yeah, I make good eggs.
At least you got a good last meal.
Yeah. I make good eggs. You like my eggs? I make good eggs. But I like that Alana shows up out of nowhere, helps Miles, right? Takes Miles. Alana shows up. It's Alana, Sun, Ben, and Frank, who I love Frank. Frank is
love
my
Frank.
favorite character.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody hates Frank. Is there anybody
Not like Lapidus.
Lapidus is like the perfect character.
Yeah.
He's good. He lands the ship, not the ship. He lands the plane every time. He's
Right.
like,
Sure, his co-pilot dies, but he did land the plane.
he will always land the plane because he's a damn good pilot.
That's why he had to get replaced, right?
Yeah.
Because he was supposed to be the pilot on flight 815.
They would have never crashed if Lapidus was flying.
Nope. But I do like that she shows up. Smokey's going through town. Of course, Kate has some great advice for Miles. Run. I always like when it's almost like when you're watching a police show or like FBI show where they say, "Stop, FBI." And the person never stops. They just keep running.
Right.
But you really have to be told, you got this thing coming in, dragging people all over the place. You're not going to have to tell me to run, Kate. I'm going to run.
I would be pissed. I'll be like, I know, bitch. I know.
I am running, literally running.
Like, I don't need you to tell me to run. Okay?
So you get an argument right there. Don't tell me what I can't do. Anyway.
Right.
But then we find out that Miles tells, did you see Jen, Dick's son? And she goes, what? And she goes, Jen's here. Jen's around here somewhere. And she's like, oh. So we got that thing where they're still apart.
Yeah.
But son had some hope there. But Alana gets the.
Oh, wait for it to be crushed, son. Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, but you gotta have hope. You gotta.
Until you get stuck in a sub.
Gotta have a parent. Don't get me started on it.
I know we
I'm like already depressed now because of
we agree on that one.
He never even got to meet her. He could have at least met her.
Nope. Did she have any?
A whole daughter. He never even.
Did Son even have pictures of her? Did Son have pictures of her?
He got to see pictures on a camera that Widmore had or something.
That's right.
What's her name? Tina Fey character.
That's right.
Zoe.
Fake Tina Fey.
What was her name? Was it Zoe?
Zoe.
I think it was. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot about hers. Yeah. But then at the end we have Smokey's killed everybody except Kate. Saeed comes out. Claire comes out, and Kate. He just kind of looks at Kate like, "You want to come?"
Yeah.
And of course, Kate, goes around.
His face there is very frightening. Very intimidating. It's very like that is not a John Locke I know with that face. For sure.
Well, it's like when he's he's in the temple, not the temple, he's in the statue, and he comes in and he's talking with is it Ben?
Yeah.
He gives the meanest. It's great acting by Terry O'Quinn. It's like he gives the meanest look you've ever seen in your life. But everybody follows Man in Black. Poof. Mm-hmm. It's like Saeed goes, I can follow this guy. I've been following Jack all over the place because he said I would never follow that man, or was it Son that said that? I would never follow.
Son said I'll never follow that man.
Yeah.
About Locke.
But that's it. That's the episode. What would you think?
Stuff. It was great stuff. We sense that there's a battle coming. We know that there's that tension is rising. With that, we are gonna have a good bad battle of some sort, or battle of wills even. So we know that that's coming. It's it was a very intense episode. Again, very dark episode. You know, it is weird when you try to figure out what's with all the killing of everybody. You know, why? What is, you know, if you want to get off the island, just get the hell off the island then. You know what I mean? So, but it's not so simple. The Man in Black can't just get off the island. Right. He just can't get in a boat and go. He's, you know, so there's more to it. But
the Man in Black says that to his brother, to Jacob. He says it always ends the same.
Right.
They come, they take over, they fight, they die.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But Jacob keeps bringing everybody over there.
Right. Right. But Jacob feels that as long as progress is happening, then things are happening as slow as they are. It takes as long as it takes, but as long as there's progress.
I'll cross off names as long as I need to.
As long as he's
dropping off, doing some more back in.
Yeah,
I got plenty of sharp rocks that I can carve names on. I can do this all day.
But a few of our characters, a few of the castaways now are different versions of themselves now. You know, Saeed now is more of a soldier than just a communications officer or a torturer. He actually is like, I'm more of a soldier now, you know, and John obviously is very different because of Smokey and Man in Black. And,
Claire.
You know, Claire is very different. So we have a lot of our castaways now they're a different, they have a completely different personality than what we know them for before. So they are different.
And then we got.
I know Joel is sitting there freaking judging me, going, "What's going on? What is she going to say next?"
No, I agree they're different. I just disagree on why he's different.
Absolutely, no, but no.
And Saeed, I felt like at the very beginning of him waking up, I was like, "Oh crap, he's going to be like a different character now." He doesn't end up being any different of a character. He's disoriented for a bit, is how I've come to look at it in hindsight. Like, it was. It even said, I watch it now with subtitles on because I'm slightly deaf, and it said weekly. He says, "What happened?" Because it sounded like he was speaking with a different accent all of a sudden.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's like he didn't end up being weird or anything different. It just took him a while to acclimate, and he's pretty much the same guy, good guy by the end.
But now he is a little different, in my opinion, only in that he's willing to be a soldier for the Man in Black. He's willing to go ahead and, you know, follow him and whatever's got to be. But then we do know, too, as the episodes start to come to pass here, that Saeed is going to reach a place of feeling nothing, which is part of the enlightenment process. So, but still, at this point, he's thinking he's going to get rewarded with something because Man in Black told him, "I can give you something." So he's willing to.
You think he believed that? He didn't seem like the type that would believe that.
No, but he was still willing to go ahead and follow him and be more of a soldier.
Maybe it's because when Miles tells him, "You were dead.
You were dead.
You were dead for like 2 hours."
So dead wasn't really dead, was it?
No.
That whole thing with him offering, "I'll give you whatever you want," that just reminded me of that whole "how will it end" contest thing and the stupid theory that I came up with. It was ridiculously convoluted, way off base, but still wanted that van. Damn
it! It was a nice van. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Anything else?
No.
Wow.
I think I gave you more than enough of metaphor tonight to make.
The only other thing I have on here that I didn't mention was it's weird how Saeed's brother used the fact that Saeed loved his wife to manipulate him.
Isn't that horrible, though? That's horrible. That's horrible.
Like, I know you're into my wife, so do it for her. What? It's just a weird, strange.
Yeah.
Well, I got nothing else.
Because his brother wouldn't kill, what was it, a chicken?
Yeah. Right.
But Saeed said, "I'll kill the chicken."
Well, he just went and did it and gave it to the brother to present it like he did.
Right.
You know,
but
try to get him out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Good chat, guys. I enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you.
It's
I
so
always
much
have a
better when I
blast.
watch the episodes.
Do what? I'm sorry.
I said it's so much better when I actually watch the episode. Last time I totally forgot, and I popped in like 5 minutes late, and I'm like, shit, I didn't watch anything.
It does help, I think, that you do watch the episodes.
I mean, I've seen them 100 times, but you know what I mean? Like, actually seeing all, you remember the bullet points, and like there was a couple scenes where I was sitting here watching, I'm like, man, I hardly even remember that.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the little details it's nice to get the refresher on it. Now I'm like, shit, what happens next? I mean, I know, but I want to see it.
I know. I wanted to go on to the next episode, and I'm like, I better stop because then I'm going to confuse the two we're working on today, and then I don't want to do that. I don't want to.
I learned that early on during this recap because I would watch like 3 or 4 because I was actually recording them out of order.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, and people were, I'm like going, oh wait, that's it. So I said, okay, I got to watch these, and then record them as I watch them.
I can't believe we're nearing the end already, though.
I know.
Because I don't know. Jack, you're just going to have to do a rewatch of a rewatch again.
Well, I thought
you can finally do it chronologically.
Yeah. I thought I could do maybe like once a month, pick a different character.
That's a good character.
Character, maybe you do Kate 1 month. I'm sure Joel would want to be here.
Joel, that's right up your alley.
Why? No. I want to do Kate.
I'm
in every sense of that.
No, we're just having fun with you.
Anyway.
I recommend, like, some people don't like the temple stuff, like in season 6, the way that all played out. I recommend, if you can, find just that segment of Chronologically Lost if you don't want to watch the whole thing, and watch the temple stuff straight through. It's actually really good. I don't know why them breaking it up and flashing, cutting away to other stuff made it not feel like it was very fulfilling. But when you watch the temple stuff beginning to end, it was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I don't hate it. I know a lot of people do hate it.
Yeah.
They just don't like it at all.
I didn't. It was like, that's not my favorite of season 6. But then when I watched it that way, I was like, no, okay, I appreciate it more now for some reason.
I appreciate it. I just felt like in season 6, it was just like they took the fun out of what it could have been.
Yeah. I always maintain the end of season 5. Same thing with like Game of Thrones or whatever. There's a sweet spot in a show where it can't get any better than it is. And that was it flashing to white at the end of season 5. Because in that moment, you don't know what's coming next. And anything is possible. In your brain, you can decide, it could go this way. It's magic. But then eventually everything's going to play out. And something's not going to play out the way you wanted. It's like nothing's as good as that end of season 5 moment. I did not like season 6. I like season 6, but that's the peak of the show. Is like that moment where you're like, holy shit, where is this going to go?
Could season 5 ending been a satisfying ending for the show?
No,
unfortunately not.
I mean, they could
have wrapped it up. I don't know. No. What does that leave you with? You know what I mean? Where does that leave you?
I'm just sorry. Arguments. Because then they wouldn't have answered half the questions they answered.
Here's how they could have done that. They could have flashed to white and then boom, pulled back from the clouds into the plane and then cut it. Like that could have been an ending. But then that would imply they reset it, or maybe they didn't, or maybe it's a loop, or you know what I mean? Like you could have done that.
I would have been
satisfying.
If you would have like flashed it to just people being happy on a plane and it lands, I would have been pissed.
Well, right. Kate wouldn't be happy.
Yeah, Kate would go to jail. That was what I was going for. Jeez.
The thing is, people are bad. Like we can't always celebrate the bad guys just because we like them. They should go to jail, like Kate.
Yeah, good. She deserves it.
She said she was sorry.
Yeah.
Oh. She said I didn't realize she said she was sorry.
Yeah, it was in a flash sideways thing.
He blew up that man.
But that man was not a good man. Her dad was not a good guy.
He was not a good person, but you can't murder. Like you just sleep.
And yet she did. And she got away with it.
If
So you can. The lesson to be learned from Kate is you can get away with murder.
Now,
Right.
wasn't it kind of his fault? He was drunk and passed out. If he was, sober, he could have got out maybe.
Yeah, and didn't she like rob the bank just to get?
Are you victim shaming, Jack?
I guess I am. I don't
Well, if you
I don't
hadn't been drinking, you wouldn't have died in that explosion that was set up. This is clearly at least some your fault.
Alcohol is flammable, so. But he was and I still think he not only did he hurt his mom. I think her mom. I think he was doing stuff to Kate.
Right,
Just
but do
'cause
you think he knew he was her dad, or do you think that he thought the
No, either way,
military guy was?
I don't know.
I mean, at least it would make him slightly less of a creep if it wasn't if he didn't think it was his own daughter. You know what I mean? Like if he thought it was this other kid, it's just his girlfriend's daughter.
Yeah, still it's
Still creepy, but slightly less on the creep scale.
I just think there's some people that just deserve to die, and it's just
I mean,
Well, Kate felt she was doing it for
murder
her,
is illegal. So
But is legality morality?
and she would have got away with it. She didn't tell the mom.
not like Scooby Doo. Those pesky kids.
Right.
She pulls off the mask, and it's not her.
They're Willikers.
I think it's a good place to stop. Great job, guys.
Thanks, guys. It was a blast.
Oh, and I'm taking next week off, so there'll be no rewatch next week. So
Okay.
there you go.
Thank you, guys. I always
Okay.
have so much fun to chat and get everybody's perspectives and everything. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's always fun talking about loss.
Yes.
I'm still livid, but we'll continue later. No, I'm kidding. It was great.
Okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.